15 to 20% of people who come on our website are going to immediately leave and search Amazon to see if it's there because it's not their preference. It's their actual buying pattern, and it's zero sum for them.
Welcome to the High Voltage Business Builders, a show where we interview people committed to making their next million through passive income using real estate, brokering, e-commerce, and beyond. If you're a passionate business builder yourself, visit voltageb2b.com to get in touch now. All right, so we're talking today about how Amazon FBA is so much better than direct-to-consumer. And so I brought Aaron on this conversation today because he knows that I'm right? Debatable. Okay, well, let's get into it. So, Aaron, we're going to talk about you two, of course. I got you on the call because Aaron is a good friend. We've been known, what have we known each other for, like 5 years now? Time flies,
something like
at
that.
Least. And Aaron's one of those guys who's very much into traffic and conversions and boring stuff like that. That doesn't make anybody any money unless you do it right, unless you do it his way. So we're going to talk about... Which is actually really true.
I can help you lose money really quickly if you want.
Oh, sure. I can do that too. Just go sell silicone spatulas on Amazon and just give that one a shot. You want to lose some money.
Actually sell it DTC too.
Fire up your traffic and funnel on Facebook and see how well that goes over. All right, so we're going to talk today. Aaron runs an agency, but he's also he's a CEO operator, as I like to refer to these guys, because Aaron is also very tactical, but he's super smart when it comes to business and operations. And I'm honored to have him on the call today. Thanks for coming and humoring me today with some conversation. So let's dig in a little bit. Okay, so Amazon versus DTC. Let's talk a little bit about this. Give me dig in on this a little bit for me.
Well, like I was saying before we started this, everyone wants to hate on Amazon, but really the DTC guys are like secretly jealous of Amazon, so it's easier to throw stones than to admit you're secretly jealous. And I am secretly jealous of the people who understand how to do Amazon right, which would be guys like yourself. Ryan Moran is a client of ours at the agency. Like, there's some people out there that know how to do it right, build a brand, lock in your spot, get the buy button, and when you do all of those things, all of those free sales is like the holy grail of all digital marketing. It's just, at least in my mind, because I'm not an Amazon guy, it just seems really hard and really fickle. And I don't know, it just seems like a whole lot of work gambling. And I like speed, and I like scale, and I like domination. And so I'm secretly jealous of Amazon and what you guys know. But in reality, you should probably have both is my take on it.
Yeah,
right? And I think that we agree.
Yeah, we agree on that point.
The things I hate about Amazon, it's a monopoly. It's controlled by one guy's whims, regardless of what you think. They are they've been slowly choking out their resellers bit by bit by bit, year after year. Their end goal is to own all of the products and steal all of the info, which they've been caught doing, and launch their own or buy their own private brands. And so I feel like they're the necessary evil, right? And so you may contradict my opinion on some of those things.
I would just argue that you could take that bullet point and insert Facebook and Zuckerberg, and you'd have the same bullet list.
And that's exactly where I was going to go. Like, it feels like I'm less in that bucket,
right?
Over here, and it's more obvious.
Yeah.
Over here, but really, they're all playing the same game.
Well, it's a public-facing virtual product base, so it's really easy to kind of see and pick on. Where I do like the aspect of what you do, because you can kind of hide your funnels and products behind the scene just a little bit. And it's public facing because you can reach like billions of people. But there's billions of people who have no idea that your products are out there or even how to go find them.
Well, and here's the problem. Even when we're doing DTC through the agency, the first thing I tell my clients is, you better go get this on Amazon. So that just shows the pure power. And they go, why? Because we hired you. We're going to sell all the stuff. I go, listen. 15 to 20% of people who come on our website are going to immediately leave and search Amazon to see if it's there because it's not their preference. It's their actual buying pattern, and it's zero sum for them. If they can't get it on Prime and they can't get it shipped in one day and you're not there, they're not buying it. They're not like going to see first, like, is it here? And if so, I'll buy it here. And if not, I'll go back to the site. They're just not buying it at all, period.
Or they'll buy a competitor because they looked at it and for some reason they couldn't find you, or it was a slightly different price point, or they trusted the platform and brand and they're like, no, I'll just buy it over here instead.
So when we bring a DTC client on, traditionally we'll start them in Facebook and Instagram because it's the easiest to tap into, easiest to target, easiest to scale. We can go US, then we can go, depending on their shipping capabilities, we can go Canada, Australia, New Zealand, English-speaking countries worldwide. We can just go blah, 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 blah. But even still, part of the strategy when I'm talking to them about this is you also need to be on Amazon because that's going to pick up 20% more gross sales, which when we're looking at the overall, ad spend to ROAS ratio or however you want to measure it, can you afford to not pick up 20% of your sales? Because that's a guaranteed loss.
Yeah, we call it found money. It's just found money.
Yeah.
Like not doing it, someone else.
You can look at it either way. It's found money or guaranteed lost money.
It's guaranteed found. Yeah.
Depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Right. So the reasons that I like paid media versus Amazon is I can quickly get in, I can quickly test, I can quickly launch. When I hit, I can quickly scale. But you're right, the same parameters rear their ugly head. And an example of that would be a client I had who did organic beauty products. Out of the UK, she was making them out of her basement, really did a great job branding. Like she was into that whole holistic, natural. She was that person. She was doing content like I was teaching her, like she was doing everything right. And then when COVID hit, she said, hey, what if I do an organic hand sanitizer? And I went, oh my God, that's brilliant. 100% you should do that. So we had it up and launched in 24 hours because that's the speed of paid media. And we were getting a 15-to-1 return on our money day one, right? Which was amazing. And the very next day, her account got shut down by Facebook because they had literally 24 hours before not notifying anybody.
Yeah.
They had said, you cannot sell hand sanitizer during COVID because we've unilaterally decided that that's the worst thing on earth would be to.
Yep. And they did it on the Amazon side too, man. They shut people's accounts down. And I got people coming to me now. Oh, they did. Yeah. I got people coming to me now going, hey, can you get this brand and help? What's your brand? Oh, well, I have hand sanitizers on Amazon. Nope, sorry. Not touching.
Right. Which when you take a step back from like the Amazon versus paid media thing, let's take like one further step back because you and I like to talk about the insanity of some of these things.
I know where you're going.
The world wants to buy a thing.
Yes, they do.
Right? It's not ballistic missiles. It's hand sanitizer. Okay? I understand the idea behind it of like, hey, we don't want price gouging. Cool. I guess you could unilaterally decide a fair price and say you're not allowed to sell it higher than this, which is anti-capitalism, which I hate in the first place. But even if that was the compromise, cool. Just saying you can't buy, you can't market hand sanitizer on the internet is one of the most baffling, insane things I've ever seen.
Oh boy, that's a rabbit hole I could dig into. You know that because it just has to. Oh man, it gets down to the whole idea that wait a second, at what point is who making what decision for in this instance people's health and wellness? Like wait a second, like when did hand sanitizer become a toxic chemical that needed to be regulated all of a sudden?
Right, it was insane. Yeah, right, and so
makes no logic.
The upside of what we were doing with paid media is when somebody has an idea. If you've got the resources, and the resources for us, obviously, if someone's working with us, they have unlimited resources. We come up with the product, we brand it, we create the ads, we drop it. We can have that done in 24 hours, and we can be testing to see if it'll pull. And we know right away from the metrics if it's going to pull. And if it's going to pull, we can scale it to the moon. Like in my own e-commerce stores, I would test 30 different variations of products to find one that would work. And when I hit that one, I knew I was going to sell $1 million of it in the next 6 months. It was just about pure scale, pushing the button, increasing the volume, diversifying the creative, expanding country to country to country. Super easy. And then obviously all of the other products that were in the store, we're going to increase the LTV from people shopping and adding to cart and coming back and emails and all the good stuff. Like my speed to execution, at least in my belief system, compared to Amazon is exponentially higher, right? And my ability to test different products to see which one's going to hit is exponentially faster because, at least in my opinion, there's a lot of groundwork.
There is, and the danger becomes, though, that you get people with the mindset of, well, because it's working on direct to consumer, it should automatically work on Amazon. And that doesn't necessarily play ball.
And see, that's where I wonder, because Amazon's not my space, Amazon's your space. Why do you think there's a disconnect? If I go out, I'll give you an example of a client we have, and I think you know this client, right? He sells hidden gun shelves. So hidden in plain sight gun safes, right? So he's got an app, you click it, he's got an American flag made out of old whiskey barrels. It opens up, your AR-15s are inside of it. It's an actual gun safe hidden in plain sight. Does $50 million a year in rev, right? Why would that client not sell on Amazon? And I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying, in your opinion, what would be the reason?
It would be,
rationale?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at the end, I would look at the market research for what's on Amazon. And if there are 3, 4, or even 5 other competitors, and this is going to maybe not make sense, but if there are other competitors in that space selling products that are similar to his, then I would say absolutely. If you look in there and you say, well, his is the most unique version, almost to the level of invention status versus the products that are currently there, then you're going to have a knowledge transfer, which is what Amazon is not about. And this is something I was covering with Matt the other day during our conversation, and he was very astute in explaining the audience and conversation that must occur on the front end direct to consumer before they get to Amazon. Think of Amazon a little bit differently than a lot of people do. Amazon is a search engine, but I literally just think of Amazon like the add to cart button. Like Amazon is the add to cart button. Meaning,
so there's not enough ability to nurture the client.
Not on Amazon. No, what I have to do is reinforce their buying decisions they've already made before they hit the platform and ensure that they hit the add to cart button for my product versus someone else's. So if you think about it like that, it's a whole different approach to the marketing on Amazon than most people do. Most people are thinking, well, I need to get my product out there and inform people of the value benefits of my product versus the competition. No, I need to inform them of the reinforcement of the decisions from the audience and conversation they already had somewhere else so that they click my add to cart button in 30 seconds or less.
So that would probably be more around like reviews and star ratings. And
I can launch products with 0 reviews and go over to 50 units a day in organic sales on a $50+ product with 0 reviews. It has to do with algorithmic driven decisions that Amazon is making for their consumers. And then it's reinforcing that decision making process over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. And if you are in that conversational flow, what I call Amazon slipstream, and that product goes in there, you don't need the reviews because you're now got a product that is reinforcing a buying decision that the algo already knows someone else made before they showed up to Amazon. You see?
So that's probably circles back around to the initial part of our conversation, which is why it's important to have both.
100%. Just think of Amazon like a different add to cart for any of your front end direct to consumer marketing. Don't think about it as an independent sales channel, but understand how it's operating as an independent sales channel. When you approach it from that way, you approach the product selection, the go-to-market, the testing, and of course, the scaling and ramping completely different. And this is where I know a lot of amateur sellers who haven't gone to 6, 7, 8, 9 figures don't know what they don't know because they never reached that scale yet. So they're still thinking and trading and being taught that Amazon is a channel in which you have some knowledge or control over the education of the customer. But in actuality, that's a completely wrong approach to the branding of the products in the market. It is simply a buying and reinforcement decision-making platform with an add to cart button.
It's like if you're looking at brick and mortar, right?
Yep.
Amazon is no different than walking into Best Buy and picking up a product off the shelf that you already know about because of their external marketing.
We used to call the Best Buy as the showroom for Amazon.
Okay, you can look at it that
literally
way too.
People would showroom their stuff at Best Buy and then go buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, I know that happens too, right? Like for me, why I love the paid media channels that we're in, which are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, TikTok, all of these different places, is I can say, stop, you have a problem. You might not even know you have the problem, but let me explain to you why you have the problem.
Right. Click
right. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Now, I bet you've tried other things in the past to solve that problem, but here's why they didn't solve that problem. And here's why this will solve that problem for you today. Right. And let me give you some sense of urgency of why you should get it right now. Right. And let's move you in. And so then I can have that conversation with them.
You're creating it. Yep.
And disrupt them.
Yep.
From what they were doing.
And suddenly make them believe they have a problem you can solve.
Correct.
With your product. Absolutely. And then they're going to look at it and say, from the Amazon side, I already know that decision process has occurred before they hit Amazon. So when they hit Amazon, what they're really doing is just looking to validate which exact product is going to finish solving that solution in a relatively fast time so they can get the solution in an hour to 2 days.
Let me go back to the example of the guy with the gun shelves.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
So I don't know if he's on Amazon and I don't know if he has any competitors. His company's called Tactical Traps, right? So let's assume somebody goes to Amazon and they see Tactical Traps. And maybe they see, let's talk about 0 competitors versus 4 to 5 competitors. Okay? So just keep that in mind. We're going to talk about 0 competitors and 4 to 5 competitors, right? What made this guy unique in my mind for being able to sell it was that first and foremost, everything was built in the United States. It was built in the United States. It was shipped in the United States. And we were selling to a demographic that you belong to. That when you're talking about gold, guns, and God, values those things. Made in the United States, ships from the United States, right? And so if that customer now goes to Amazon and they see his product and they see 0 other competitors, is that just an automatic like, oh, I found it here, I can ship it on Prime and I'm stoked? Or is there more to it than that?
There's more to it. The psychological of the Amazon buyer, the psychology of the Amazon buyer is a bit different. They're going to look at that and say, I have nothing else to compare it against. I have no other products to validate whether or not this is the best one. I'm just going to assume at this moment that it is. And that isn't a trigger of reinforcement on Amazon's buying psychology. With 2 or 3 other products, they will then determine, I saw that, I now see it here, I now see the other competitors, and I have a reinforcement of the buying process. I know it sounds weird, but it's the psychological.
It's actually better if there's 3 to 4.
It is actually better if there are other competitors because now you have a brand appeal. And at that moment of designation, that buyer then becomes brand driven. So what happens on Amazon is now I'm driving their brand mindset versus the competitors. So as I put in other mechanisms of deployment, including getting customer data, bringing them into my tier 2, tier 3 products, getting them on my list, direct mail, email, other things that you can do, by the way, from Amazon within their terms of service, as long as the customer is voluntarily giving you that data, which they will, then I can now take them into second and third, and I can now see more customer lifetime value from them because they're now brand driven. It's reinforcement of brand decision. They just simply decided to hit add to cart on my product because it reinforced the decision they made before they showed up. If they're the only product, they're going to question the trust. Why is there only one of these here? How can I validate that this is actually the best product?
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So having those additional competitors also gives us the advantage of understanding the differentiation of different buyers who might buy price, review, feature, and it can get us into that brand-driven mindset of recognizing there are tier 2 and tier 3 buyers of those products right there. So what I would do then, if he's the only one on there, is that I would create that space in the buyer's mind by taking and putting 2 or 3 other products in front of them that are still mine. So all of a sudden, there's now brand competition and differentiation in their mind, but regardless of which one they choose, they're choosing mine.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's fun stuff, right? So moving horizontal across Amazon is one of its value propositions that most people don't understand. You think of vertical and DTC because you drive in cost, upsells, down sells, cross sells, back sells, email sales, SMS sales, etc. But you don't think about it in the way we do on Amazon, which is horizontal branding. So horizontal branding can drive vertical sales, but it can also drive sales across multiple brands and segmentations of the market in which the customer doesn't recognize they're actually purchasing one of my products, regardless of which one they hit. So I can create a different version, which becomes a snowball. So I do love DTC and the fact that I do like paid traffic. You know I do. And I like that whole component that gives that gas to working products. But we do a little bit more front loading on the product and brand designation and the competition research and marketing. So when we take that product, like the organic one that got 50 sales on the first day of launch I mentioned earlier, and he'll be able to diversify that product into 3 or 5 or 10 other products. He'll fall into that vertical line and then take that product out horizontal as well, which is one of the things most people don't understand about how you can take vertical and horizontal traffic across Amazon. They don't understand it because maybe they're not being taught it or they've never done it. I don't know, whatever it is, but they miss out on all those additional sales and traffic that they are literally not taking advantage of. So When someone comes in and wants to get started, we make sure they understand that if they're already on Amazon or they want to get on Amazon from a DTC, they got to understand the whole psychological aspect of that buyer is completely different than the mindset of a buyer going through a DTC side. They could even be this is where it gets really tough. They could be the same person who changes their buying decision-making process on the fly based on the platform. And you've done this too.
See, that breaks all the rules of marketing, which makes me hate Amazon even more.
No, it just means you have to play in a different mindset, right? And I think I get it because I've been in it for a long time, and I've broke some of those barriers and actually understood how to play that game and see it go on scale. And most importantly, I've got many other people to do it too, so I'm just not alone in my own world screaming, into the Amazon echo chamber. There are things I hate about Amazon. Trust me, I do. And some of that, monopoly kind of control and the fact that you have a lot of algorithms running around behind the scenes that sometimes just do stupid stuff and make you go do work to fix it, even though you didn't do anything wrong. Which I also know you would argue on the Facebook.
I deal with the same stuff.
Stupid thing. I did not run an MLM porn ad. Why are you banning my ad set?
Right? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we literally had that happen to a client only 3 weeks ago. One of my biggest clients, spending $5,000 a day on paid ads for the last year on Facebook and IG, got their account hacked, no phishing email, no nothing that they can find, got hacked. Everybody got pulled out of the account. Apparently some people from Pakistan got in there, started running ads to child porn.
Oh,
whole thing got shut down. They're mortified, right? Yeah. Their business, all of it just mortified. And then we got the account back. Facebook got the account back and jettisoned them out and did all this. But then we're like, great, can we have it back so we can start marketing again? Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, what logic would that be? Why would they not let you run again after that?
Right. Like, we were hacked. This has nothing to do with us. You got it back. You swept them out. Yeah. Like, let us back in.
So the pros and cons of each platform are clear, right? We've faced them. You have to kind of figure out what your lane is.
Well, yeah, and I think that like I make fun of Amazon, but the reality is I deal with the same kind of thing in the different channels. Like I'll have clients come in and say, okay, well, these ads are working on Facebook and Instagram. Let's say they're video ones. Let's take them to YouTube now. They don't work.
Yeah,
the same ad does not work.
It's a different channel of content and content,
right? And I'll give you a prime example of that. We have a client that's in the nutritional space. Mm-hmm. The video ad is hilarious. Takes them to a sales page. They buy, upsells, downsells, all that stuff. Kills it on Facebook. Same video ad, which is really well done, really well produced, whatever. Shit the bed on YouTube, right? Do you know what works on YouTube for supplements? Quiz funnels.
Oh, really? I don't know. You tell me.
We've tried every single type of way to sell supplements on YouTube.
Yeah.
To no avail.
Right.
Shockingly bad results.
Right.
Until one day we realized, if we do a quiz funnel on YouTube for supplements, we print money. But it took us
a quiz funnel on something
$400,000 to figure that out. Right. So now when I see other guys doing like the stuff that we were doing on YouTube, I'm like, you're losing your ass, right? Because I know you are. I don't know what you think you're doing, but if you
hire Aaron and we'll help you save $300,000.
Yeah, you're not making money, right? But if we do a supplement like, hey, what's your score on your gut health, for example, and take our free quiz to see, where you might be ranking, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, it converts like absolute gangbusters. I have no idea why. It's a different person in YouTube with a different marketing style to Facebook and Instagram. And then you start looking at TikTok. TikTok's a hot mess. That whole there is every age demographics on TikTok, but obviously the primary group of people is a younger
18-24 range. Yeah.
Right. It's a younger demographic, right?
Yep.
But there's still the older demographic there too. We still sell to higher income older demographics there as well. It's just a smaller pool to fish from, right? Yeah. So on TikTok's creatives, we have to literally take what works on Facebook, shorten it by 80%, and put like 10 more angles and cuts in it.
7 seconds is what I heard the other day. 7 seconds.
Oh my God. Like for TikTok people, they're like squirrels.
Yeah.
Like they have to see like something like right now. And
right, 7 seconds,
and it has to be like.
I think somebody mentioned this the other day, like the time frame they measured of another animal. I forget what it was. I'll say it wrong. It's about 8 seconds. But then they were saying that the social media construct now has taken people down to 7 seconds. So we actually have less attention on social media than a monkey. So the thing with TikTok, though, I'll tell you this, and social media traffic and Amazon, they tie together. Like once upon a time, and this is going to tie to something you will figure out on your own. But we used to have just social signals from Twitter. Yeah. And sending them from Twitter social signals to Amazon would rank products against our competition, even if we didn't convert.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Social signals from social media. That's my pro tip. You figure out the rest of that. But the end of the result is Amazon's algos are watching that. They're watching the conversation that's occurring on social media, and they're rewarding the listings on Amazon for positive conversational topics.
I mean, that's genius, right? If you can, if you can listen to the tom-toms beating in the streets and say, let's give that more preference.
Yep.
That's the key to the kingdom.
It's a big deal. So for those running social media traffic and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and others, just keep in mind, if you got Amazon products, there's a lot of value to the organic search results on Amazon if you have a great conversation translated over to Amazon to your products. But keep in mind, again, that buyer demographic on Amazon is looking literally like the giant add to cart. They don't go to learn about products on Amazon. They go to reinforce buying decisions. They are at.
Well, let me ask you the tough question then, and maybe you answered this in your 3-day live event that you had the other day.
Maybe
right. If you had to start with a product from scratch, you're going to start in Amazon first, or you're going to start in DTC first?
It's going to sound biased, but let me give you the.
Well, I knew you were going to say Amazon. I just wanted to know
I'll give you the transparent answer. There's pros and cons to both. If I had a bigger war chest and I had a great market research already for a product to define that maybe has a slightly USP differentiation, not an invention level, but man, that's kind of like a little bit of a wow factor. Yeah. I would say DTC. If I'm looking at product that is already mainstream, already has a product visible front and competition marketplace that I can look into, that I can see a stream of traffic and sales coming into millions of dollars a day. And I can literally put that product and I'm going to call it my lemonade stand in front of that traffic. And if they're selling, yellow lemonade and a chocolate chip cookie, I'm going to sell yellow lemonade, a chocolate chip cookie, and a free pink lemonade to go with it for your friend. And I'm going to put myself right in front of their traffic and I'm going to start sucking it all up. And I'm going to know that data and information within 80% of the front-facing data we can get from Amazon. So I have a very good confidence of how to position my product and brand so that those people see it and go, bam, bigger value statement, higher perceived value. I'll pay your $49 for something someone else is selling for $19. So that's where I would approach FBA first.
And here's where I will actually agree with you and why. So we're about 80% info marketers and about 20% e-com in the agency, right? And the reason why we're 80% info is because there's no inventory. It's easier to make money. It's
test faster, scale faster,
absolutely. All of those elements, right?
Yeah.
The e-commerce clients that we typically take on, they have to fall into the category of what we call holy shit products.
Yeah,
right.
A little more wow factor.
When I see it in the feed, I have to stop and go, holy shit.
Fidget spinners were one of those, even though they weren't evergreen or they weren't blue sky and they've all petered out into the, saturation land of I can get one for 99%.
If you look at tactical traps and you've seen any of our videos that run
those are smart.
Facebook, right? Very where the person's just in their house and they're like, and it's like this opening up behind me. My picture.
That's a hot audience.
People are like, I want that.
Well, you talked into survival. Yes. Survival is a very hot audience.
Passionate audience.
Very
big wow factor looking at it. It makes it's what I call a holy shit product. Right?
Yeah.
If somebody comes to me with a skin cream, and they're like, I got a new skin cream and it's got these modules and beads and flowers and derivatives. And I'm like, don't care.
For the DTC, absolutely. But then I would argue that there's a huge market for that. For a slight differentiation on Amazon.
Exactly.
Because the demographic. So we hadn't even gotten into that part.
There's proof of concept, there's traffic, there's this, there's that,
there's
whatever. So you might look at that and go,
plus.
I love that. Whereas like the one that I want, you're like, I don't want that. There's not enough competition.
No, because I know that in the snowball component in like 3, 6, 9, 12 months, I'm going to dominate the other competition through better buying, better profits, and better brand recognition because I've already approached it from a totally different mindset than the other brand owners on Amazon.
Right.
They're not approaching it from the way I just explained it. They're approaching it from a front-ended knowledge, customer-centric, if you will. And not that I'm not customer-centric, but hear what I'm saying. They're approaching it from a totally different mindset of the buyer demographic on Amazon, right? They're still thinking I have to prove my product is better in knowledge instead of validating the customer experience at the time of purchase. That's the add to cart. So if you take that a whole different approach, you will change your listings, you'll change your product, you'll change your aspect, and then you'll see what we see, which is 40 to 60% conversions on our product listings in Amazon.
That's sick.
Where else can you get that, right?
You can't.
Because they get it, they see it, and they're like, boop, that's exactly what I wanted. And I'm willing to pay whatever that was.
But this actually has me thinking, because I've got this client that just came on with us who has this amazing skin cream line, and she'll tell you all the reasons why it's so amazing. And I'm like, and she also has a coaching program because she's like a personal development, like earthy, law of attraction type.
The grounded individual type of stuff. Get grounded, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I said to her, we'll market the coaching program and we'll retarget the skin cream line.
Yeah.
But we are not leading with the skin cream line because there's nothing special about it. She's like, no, let me tell you all the reasons it's special. I'm like, it's not special.
Doesn't matter.
Not at all. Right? And it's special to you. It's just not special to anybody else looking at it.
To the coaching that they need to get the product in order to make the coaching work. And you nailed it 100%.
And boom, we'll do that. But I may bring her to you and go, you put this in your way in front of all of those earthy, ethereal skin cream type people, and maybe you would kill it.
Yeah, no, have that conversation with them over here through your knowledge, your training, your product base or whatever, and use that tribe.
Yeah.
And bring them over to Amazon with all the other products they can get that they weren't aware that you had. And all of a sudden that channel now becomes a real actual leg in your business profitability model. Absolutely. You just have to approach it from a different strategy.
And it's just funny how what we would want from a product is almost completely different. And maybe that's why it's not a DTC or Amazon conversation. It's a DTC or Amazon based on your type of product.
Based on the product and the avatar. So you would look at that avatar. That's exactly right, Aaron. And it gets down to making sure that if you do launch it on Amazon, that you understand these things that we're talking about, because you can launch that product on Amazon and see it do very well, like the cosmetic stuff we just discussed, and then try to take that product into DCC without a strategy of information and knowledge transfer first and product third, and it will fail.
It'll get murdered.
You'll get murdered. You're like, well, it sells really. I've seen this happen a lot of times with people, and this is the reasons. I hope everybody's paying attention who's listening. This is the reasons why I can't take my Amazon product and move it DTC, because I've seen a lot of people fail at that. They're like, well, I tried Shopify, I tried Traffic, I spent all this money, couldn't get it to work. I hired an agency and they couldn't get it to work. Well, because they lied to you. Or they didn't know what they didn't know, or whatever that case might be.
Most of the time, they just lied because they're
they just wanted
most agencies are in the business of just getting retainers, and they're like, I mean, I see them all the time. You see them all the time.
I do. I've been through them.
I got a new client. How do you sell skin cream? I see it on Facebook groups. I'm like, you're an idiot. That's
why we're talking to you, because you're one of the only few people I trust who actually knows what the hell they're talking about. It's like, well, hey, we could sell that beauty cream. It's like, no, you moron. No, you don't understand. You're not having the conversation and knowledge transfer first and then selling them the product third. You're just out there just trying to force the product down their throat. And they're going to go to Amazon and buy some other product anyways. And you're going to wonder why it didn't work.
What you got to do in that space, and let's stay in the cosmetic space, right? So that those people who are on Amazon are like, well, how would you transfer over to DTC to go to a massive scale? Okay, let me explain it to you. You have to have an educational USP that bonds with people at a core level that has nothing to do with your skin cream, right? It was called a million years ago branding. You have to establish a brand because you're just another skin cream in a market of 10,000 skin creams. So, and what most people try to do is they try to do something along the lines of, it's got this magic ingredient, and it's got this texture, and look at my befores and afters. That's the same thing as everybody else. Nobody cares, right? If you look at somebody as a great example, like an Ezra Firestone, right? He built Boom by Cindy Joseph. He just exited it 5 years in for a gargantuan amount of money, right? He led into the marketplace, not with the skin cream. He led into the marketplace with the 5 beauty tips for women over 50. And he supported that with this mantra, this belief system that the world thinks women who are over 50 are ugly and we think they're beautiful. And then he supported that by having a spokesperson called Cindy Joseph, who was the world's oldest supermodel, right? Who was talking about how, there's all this media telling women over 50 they're ugly and blah, blah, blah. And really we're beautiful and we're inside and outside and we've got this experience and blah, 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 blah. Oh, and by the way, this skin cream I have is amazing. This is what I use.
Right. And by the way, we had that conversation the other day and how to actually exit a business and provide more value in the business by creating these secondary brands. And then at the time of sale being like, oh, by the way, we own the other 3 brands in this space too. Do you want them as well?
Right. And so you can't just come out. You have to create the story. You have to create the tribe. You have to create the emotional bond, the conversation, and the skin cream or the supplement or the whatever is just a secondary factor. You have to create fans around a purpose, an ideal, something unique, and then give them the opportunity to buy something they would buy from anybody else, but really just to support you because they know, like, trust, and believe in you, right? And that's where so many people fail trying to take something that's selling in Amazon into DTC, is they just assume if it buys there, but no, it's only buying there because Neil's smart. Neil found a way to like structure it and put it in front of other people, and you're just like hijacking somebody else's traffic in a very strategic, tactical way. You're not selling anybody anything, right? You're just hijacking traffic. Over here, you actually have to sell them. You have to, like, Simon Sinek is one of my favorite people. I think we've talked about him before, right? If you've never watched his TED Talk, Start With Why, he talks about how Apple killed Dell with messaging. He talks about how the Wright brothers were able to fly before the heavily funded government guy. He talks about how your goal is not to do business with everybody. Your goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe, which is why you lead with your beliefs first and your product second, right? Because nobody gives a shit about your skin cream.
Not until they believe in you. No, that's right. Not until they actually believe what's behind it. And that's what Ezra did so great about that. And folks, I think you can understand this is why Aaron is on this call. He gets it. You can build the know, like, and trust relationship on Amazon, as we discussed, and you can become the brand differentiator that becomes the dominant brand on Amazon. But you have to make sure that you understand the conversation you're even having with somebody. So before you can even take that off and make your DTC channel become a reality for that, or you're going to fail miserably trying to just, throw up a Shopify store and we'll make some money off it because it's already selling on Amazon. Like, no, no, you're going to miss the point of having that conversation that Aaron put out today. Guys, if you want to know more about Aaron, I suggest you hit him up on Facebook. Check out what he's doing at his agency. You can Google his name, go look him up and connect with him if you're interested in talking about how to have a conversation with your brands in the direct to consumer. This is the man to do it. And I appreciate you coming on, brother. It's been a fun conversation.
Anytime I get the opportunity to talk to you, I'm a happy man. I was looking forward to this all morning. We need to do it more often.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate your time.
All right. We'll talk soon.
If you like this episode, please share it with people you think will enjoy it as well. Thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of High Voltage Business Builders.